the Sports Town podcast, or the STP pod for short. No politics, no drama, no argument. Just two guys talking sports. I'm your host, JJ Peters. Today in the podcast, we will go over the College Football Awards, NFL playoff preview, NBA scoreboard update, and much more. But first, we have a poll question, and you can vote on Instagram and Facebook at Sportstown_podcast or on Twitter at SportsTownPod. And the question was, does Markelle Fultz injury affect the Magic going forward? And overwhelmingly, you guys said yes. Again, thanks for voting. You can vote at Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, or Instagram and Facebook at Sportstown_podcast, or on Twitter at SportsTownPod. The 2017 first-round pick Markelle Fultz is done for the season with a torn ACL. The former Washington product was having one of his best seasons as he was averaging 12 points per game, 5 assists per game, and 3.1 rebounds per game. Fultz was drafted by the Sixers with the number 1 overall pick, but failed to live up to the expectations as he was dealing with multiple shoulder injuries. He was eventually traded to Orlando in 2019, and it has worked out so far, but unfortunately he has to deal through another setback to his young career. The Orlando Magic are already dealing with an injury to starting forward and former first-round pick Jonathan Isaac, who also tore his ACL in the bubble at Disney World. The Magic defeated the Cavs on Wednesday night 105-94. The Washington Wizards starting shooting guard and superstar Bradley Beal dropped 60 points in a loss versus the Sixers on Wednesday night. Beal has been having a great season despite the struggles of the team. It was a career high for the former two-time All-Star. However, Beal was not happy about the team losing. The Washington Wizards acquired Russell Westbrook from the Thunder and in exchange traded John Wall to the Rockets. Expectations were high for the Wizards, but it hasn't come to fruition. Currently, the Wizards are 2-6. Former pitcher for the Indians, White Sox, Dodgers, Yankees, Angels, and Athletics, Tommy Johns has tested positive for coronavirus. The four-time All-Star tested positive 3 weeks ago. It was so severe that John was sent to the hospital. John is a four-time All-Star and is known for having ulnar collateral ligament reconstruction surgery in his left elbow. The surgery now bears his name, and many pitchers have taken the surgery. The 77-year-old has 288 wins in his career. He had 20 wins in 4 different seasons. Unfortunately, with all of his success, he is not in the MLB Hall of Fame. Projected number 1 overall pick quarterback Trevor Lawrence is officially declared for the 2021 NFL Draft. Lawrence played for Clemson the last 3 years and won a championship with the 2018 season over Alabama as a freshman. The 21-year-old finished second in the Heisman this year and helped the Tigers win their 6th straight ACC championship game. They were once again invited to the College Football Playoff, but were beaten by Ohio State in the Sugar Bowl, which was the College Football Playoff semifinals. Many considered Lawrence as the best quarterback prospect since Andrew Luck to declare for the NFL Draft. His stats for the season were 24 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, and he threw for 3,153 yards. He also missed 2 games this season because he tested positive for coronavirus. The Jacksonville Jaguars have the number 1 overall pick and will likely take the talented 21-year-old quarterback out of Clemson. Front Row Motorsports has added a new driver. FRM has signed Anthony Alfredo to run the number 38 Ford Mustang in the 2021 Cup season. Alfredo replaces John Hunter Nemechek. He'll be joined by Michael McDowell, who drives the number 34 Ford Mustang for FRM. The 21-year-old drove in the Xfinity Series last season. He competed in the 19 Xfinity Series last season for Richard Childress Racing and has had 9 top 10 finishes. Alfredo's best finish in the Xfinity Series was finishing at 3rd at Texas Motor Speedway. In his career, he has 1 win at the ARCA East Series. Seth Barber will be his crew chief for the 2021 Cup season. The number 38 will also drive for Camping Truck Series with Kyle Busch Motorsports. The 2021 NASCAR Cup season will begin on February 14th at Daytona International Speedway for the crown jewel event, the Daytona 500. And last but not least, the New York Mets have traded for all-star shortstop Francisco Lindor and pitcher Carlos Carrasco. The Mets will send Jimenez, Ahmed Rosario, Josh Wolf, and Isaiah Green to the Indians. This is the first big move by new owner Steve Cohen, who purchased the team in November. New York will likely give Francisco Lindor a new contract before next season. Lindor is one of the best shortstops in the league and will help out the Mets tremendously. They also got a solid pitcher in Carlos Carrasco. With the trade of their star, Cleveland now has the lowest payroll in the entire MLB. The Mets will likely be contenders next season, and the Indians could be one of the worst teams in the league next season. Lindor is a 4-time All-Star, 2-time Gold Glove Award winner, and a 2-time Silver Slugger Award winner. Let's get an NBA score update. All the games that happened on Wednesday night. There were some big games, including Clippers versus Warriors, Heat versus Celtics, and much more. Let's begin. We'll first start off with the Rockets versus Pacers. The Houston Rockets traveled to Indiana to take on the Pacers. The Pacers led the whole game and held on to beat the Rockets 114-107. Malcolm Brogdon led the way for Indiana with 35 points and 7 assists. For the Rockets, John Wall had 28 points, DeMarcus Cousins 14 boards, and James Harden finished with 12 assists. The Pacers are 6-2 and the Rockets are 2-4. Cavs versus Magic. The Orlando Magic got a win versus the Cavs on Wednesday night, but it came at a cost. Guard Markelle Fultz left the game injured. Fultz could be out for the rest of the season with a knee injury. Orlando beat Cleveland 105-94. Colin Sexton had 21 points, breaking LeBron James' record for the most, or breaking the Cavs' record for a player with the most consecutive 20-point games, breaking LeBron James' record and set in 04/05. Andre Drummond, 15 rebounds, and Sidney Osman had 7 assists. Terrence Ross for the Magic had 20 points. Kaheem Birch had 10 rebounds, and Nikola Vucevic finished the game with 6 assists. Wizards versus Sixers. The Philadelphia 76ers got their 7th win this season by edging out the Wizards 141-136. However, the big story was Bradley Beal for Washington dropping 60 points. Russell Westbrook had 8 rebounds and 12 assists in the loss. Joel Embiid for the Sixers had 35 points, 8 rebounds, and Ben Simmons finished with 12 assists. The Wizards now dropped to 2-6 on the season. If things continue to go south for the Wizards, Scott Brooks could be fired or let go by the organization. Philly has the best record in the league with the win over Washington. Crazy. Next, Hornets versus Hawks. The Charlotte Hornets beat the Atlanta Hawks on Wednesday night 102-94, led by Gordon Hayward's 24 points, PJ Washington's 10 rebounds, and Devontae Graham's with 7 dimes. The Hawks, led by John Collins, had 23 points. Clint Capella had 19 boards, and Kevin Huerter finished with 7 assists. It was the first time this season that the Hornets came from behind to beat an opponent. Charlotte is now 3-5, and Atlanta is 4-4. The Hawks have now dropped their last 4 of their last 5 games. Celtics versus Heat. The Boston Celtics got a last-second shot to beat the Miami Heat in a thriller, 107-105. Rookie guard and 6'1" guard Peyton Pritchard tipped it in for the Celtics with just 2 points, with just 0.2 seconds left in the game. Jason Tatum had 27 points in the win, Jaylen Brown at 12 assists, and Marcus Smart finished with 6 assists. For the Heat, Jimmy Butler had 26 points despite being injured and 8 boards. Bam Adebayo had 10 boards. Miami is now 3-4 after the loss. Boston is 6-3 after coming from behind to beat Miami. Jazz versus the Knicks. The Knicks could be the surprise of the league. They upset the Jazz 112-100. It is their 3rd straight victory in the season. New York came back to beat the Jazz. Julius Randle finished with 30 points, 16 rebounds, and Alfred Payton came away with 8 assists in the win. By the way, Julius Randle, been a solid season. If there was an All-Star game this year, he would definitely be a starter as of now. Jordan Clarkson had 19 points in the loss. Rudy Gobert, 12 rebounds, and Mike Conley came up with 6 dimes in the loss. The Jazz are now 4-4, and the Knicks have a winning record at 5-3. Pistons versus Bucks. The Milwaukee Bucks continue their winning. Milwaukee beat Detroit 130-115, led by Giannis Antetokounmpo's 25 points, Bobby Portis' 10 rebounds, and Chris Middleton's 7 assists. The Bucks are 5-3 after the win versus the Pistons. Jeremiah Grant finished with 31 points, 10 assists, and Blake Griffin at 5 assists. Jeremiah Grant finished with 31 points, 10 rebounds, and Blake Griffin at 5 assists. The Pistons fall to 1-7 on the year. Thunder versus Pelicans. The Thunder sweep past the Pelicans 111-110, led by Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's 21 points and 9 assists. Darius Bazley had 12 boards. Zion Williamson finished with 29 points, Brandon Ingram with 11 rebounds, and Steven Adams at 10 assists. Veteran George Hill has had a go-ahead free throw with 12 ticks left to beat New Orleans. The Thunder are now 3-4, and the Pelicans are 4-4. Raptors versus the Suns. The Phoenix Suns have started the season hot. The Suns beat the Raptors 123-115 to have one of their best records to start the season since the Steve Nash era. They have the 2nd best record in the Western Conference. Devin Booker scored 24 points, DeAndre Ayton 16 boards, and Cameron Payne finished with 10 dimes. Pascal Siakam had 32 points and 9 rebounds. Fred VanVleet had 7 assists. The Raptors are off to one of the worst starts in a long time. They started the season at 1-6. Clippers versus the Warriors. The Clippers got past the Warriors on Wednesday night by beating them 108-101. PG-13 and Kawhi Leonard had 21 points. Serge Ibaka, 13 rebounds. Kawhi Leonard had 4 assists. The Clippers are now 6-3 after the win and will play the Warriors again on Friday on ESPN. Eric Paschall finished with 19 points for the Warriors to lead the Golden State in scoring. Draymond Green at 6 assists and 6 rebounds. Golden State now drops to 4-4 on the 2020/2021 season. And last but not least, the Bulls versus the Kings. The Kings got their 4th win of the season with a victory over the Bulls, 128-124. Buddy Hield got the go-ahead three-pointer to beat the Bulls. Rashawn Holmes had 24 points. Marvin Bagley finished with 12 rebounds. And the rookie Tyrese Halliburton at 6 assists. For the Bulls, Kobe White dropped 36 points and 7 assists on the loss. Wendell Carter Jr. finished with 17 rebounds. The Bulls have started the season at 4-5. Well, golf is back. It's been over a month since the last PGA Tour has hosted an event. Many of the top golfers will be back in action at the Tournament of Champions in Hawaii. We will give you all the updates and the leaderboard of the PGA Tour tournament in 2021. Can Harris English keep the lead going? Or actually, I should tell you who's up right now. The top of the leaderboard is Harris English, Justin Thomas, Robert Streb, Sergio Garcia, and Nick Taylor. Can Harris English keep the lead going? To be honest with you, I think he can be around the top 10 for the majority of the tournament, but it's hard for someone to lead for day 1, day 2, day 3, and day 4. Unless you're Tiger Woods or someone else, I don't think he's going to have the lead for the whole time. I could see a few other players passing him up, and it seems like always someone out of the top 10 comes in and ends up winning the event. So I'm going to say he hovers around the top 10, but he doesn't keep the lead going or doesn't have the lead for the whole tournament. What happened to Dustin Johnson? Well, Dustin Johnson last time we saw was having a pretty solid tournament. He had 2 under par. I think he was tied for 27. There's not many golfers this year or this event because, again, it's just getting back started because, again, it's the first event of the 2021 year. But I don't think anything's wrong with Dustin Johnson. He won the Masters. He's been out for a little bit, but I think he'll get back to his winning ways once the season, progresses and we get into the spring. But Dustin Johnson's playing all right. He's got 2 under par last time we checked, and he was tied for 27th. Who could be the dark horse to win the event? It's very hard to consider, who would be the dark horse and stuff like that. But I could see a guy like Xander Schauffele. Now, he's not really a dark horse, so I just kind of mentioned him. Colin Morikawa, who won the PGA Championship back in August, it seems like people have kind of forgotten about him, and he hasn't really played that well, and he didn't play great at the Masters or the U.S. Open. So maybe that's why people are not talking about him anymore. He's still in the top 6 or 7 in the rankings. But I would say the dark horse right now is Abraham Ancer. He's from Mexico. He's a very young and up-and-coming golfer. Him and Victor Hovland kind of share the same way they do things. So I think Abraham Ancer would be the biggest dark horse to win the event. Can Bryson DeChambeau redeem himself? Oh, absolutely. Again, he's a top 5 golfer. He's one of the best. He won the U.S. Open. He's going to win 1 or 2 more majors this year. Eventually, he's going to be catching up with Dustin Johnson and Jon Rahm. I absolutely think he can redeem himself because the guy is just a beast. He's not human. I'll just say that. And lastly, but not least, prediction on who wins the Tournament of Champions. It's always safe to say like a top golfer, but I'm gonna do the same thing. I mean, I don't want to pick someone out of the dark because it seems like this tournament's gonna be pretty competitive. So I'm gonna just go ahead and say Justin Thomas because right now he's in second place at I think 5 under par. I want to say. I'm just gonna say him. If not, I could see Justin Johnson climbing up the ropes or again Abraham Ancer. But I'm gonna take the safe pick, and I don't bet a lot because I'm not very good. But I'm gonna take the safe pick and take Justin Thomas. Well, it's official. We're in the postseason. Here's a look at all the games this Saturday and Sunday. It's a preview for every wild card games. All the games will be played on ESPN, ABC, CBS, NBC, and Nickelodeon. The Green Bay Packers and Kansas City Chiefs have the byes on both the NFC and AFC. They have home field advantage throughout the Super Bowl. First preview is the Colts and Bills, which will lead off the 2020 or actually technically the 2021 postseason. The Indianapolis Colts got in the playoffs by the skin of their teeth. The Miami Dolphins lost the team that they're playing against the Buffalo Bills. The team has been riding high on Jonathan Taylor, their rookie running back, who's been great. He just rushed for 253 yards against the Jaguars in a win. Can the Colts and can Phillip Rivers, can he go into Buffalo and beat them? Or will MVP candidate Josh Allen, our superstar receiver Stephon Diggs, and that great defense be able to hold the Colts? Bills-Colts, that game will be played on ESPN. Rams versus Seahawks, another battle of the NFC West. This is the third time they played each other, and they split in the regular season. However, the Seahawks have looked good the last few weeks, and the Rams haven't looked so great, but they were able to get a big win against the Cardinals in Week 17 to officially clinch the playoffs. However, it looks like Jared Goff is once going to be out, and John Warford will start his second game. He's 1-0 as a starting quarterback, the former American Alliance Football League quarterback, and he used to play at Wake Forest. He even led the league in touchdown passes at 14 before the league was debunked. Can the Seahawks defense get to him? And can Russ cook and find his number one target, DK Metcalf, a young and up-and-coming receiver? Possibly already a top 5. Unbelievable the way he plays. Tune in for the Rams Seahawks. That game will be at 3:05 p.m. Eastern time on ESPN. Next and last but not least on NBC, this game is actually on ESPN, sorry. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Washington football team. Defensive end and possibly defensive rookie of the year, Chase Young, said he wanted the GOAT, Tom Brady, the 6-time Super Bowl champion. He wanted to play him. Well, will he be able to get to him? That defensive line is fierce with Chase Young and Montez Sweat. But will Tom Brady be able to find his top targets even without Mike Evans? That'll be a good game. Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Washington football team. By the way, Washington football team at 7-9. Teams with a losing record are actually in a full 16-game season are 2-0. Tampa Bay is 11-5 after beating the Falcons last week. Ravens versus Titans, another rematch of this big rivalry. Last year, the Tennessee Titans went into Baltimore, who were 14-2 in the best team in the league, and kicked their butts. Can Lamar Jackson get his first playoff win, and can he finally erase the Titans, who have been kind of his Achilles heel lately? That's kind of becoming a rivalry now. The Baltimore Ravens, led by Lamar Jackson, and their fierce running game with J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards. They also have a solid tight end in Mark Andrews and a good receiver in Marquise Hollywood Brown. However, can the Ravens defense stop Derrick Henry 2K? He rushed for over 2,000 yards and became the only 9th NFL running back to do that. Can Ryan Tannehill lead an offense without Derrick Henry if the Ravens can shut him down? And can A.J. Brown continue to tear it up? Ravens-Titans, that game will be on ESPN and ABC and a bunch of other, including ESPN2, Watch ESPN, all that good stuff. The Bears and Saints, this game is actually being considered the Nickelodeon game because for the first time ever, the NFL will play a game on Nickelodeon, or technically now because they did the Packers versus Eagles a few weeks ago in the regular season. However, this game will also be on regular television as well as Nickelodeon. The Bears will take on the Saints. The Bears barely got in the playoffs with an 8-8 record and have to go into New Orleans. However, there's no fans. So can Drew Brees, the old up-and-coming veteran, can he get another win and get closer to winning his second or getting to a second Super Bowl? We'll find out. Bears, Saints, or can the Bears defense pass rush led by players such as Khalil Mack, Roquan Smith, and Eddie Jackson take down the Saints? We'll see. That's on Sunday in the afternoon. And last but not least, the Browns and Steelers. The Browns have had some problems. Kevin Stefanski, their head coach, is out and a Coach of the Year candidate. Also, their starting guard and one of the receivers are out. Also, their tight ends coach, and on top of that, their defensive backs coach is also out. Not to mention that the head coach of the game will be as just a second time ever he's calling games, and Alex Van Pelt, the offensive coordinator, will be calling the plays. The Pittsburgh Steelers get all their starters back because they're resting them in Week 17 because the season was they've already clinched the AFC North, and they had no chance of taking the number 1 seed. Browns versus Steelers, an AFC North rivalry. Can the Browns get their first postseason win in decades, or the Pittsburgh Steelers continue the Browns? Well, technically, the Browns haven't won a playoff game in 17 years, but can the Pittsburgh Steelers take them down, or will the Browns end their long 17-game losing streak? Tune in on Sunday night on NBC. Some big awards in college football were handed out on Thursday. All the major awards in college football, except for the Heisman, was announced. The event was presented by Home Depot and was aired on ESPN. It was the 30th anniversary of the College Football Awards. Awards such as the Davey O'Brien Award, Maxwell Award, Walter Camp Award, Doug Walker Award, Fred Biletnikoff Award, and much more. We first start with the Maxwell Award. Devontae Smith has won the 2020 Maxwell Award. The Maxwell Award is awarded to the best all-around player in college football. Smith continues to win many awards such as the Heisman, AP Player of the Year, ASA SEC Player of Offensive of the Year, and now the Maxwell Award. The Walter Camp Award is named the best outstanding offensive player in college football. And you guessed it, Devontae Smith wins. He has now won the Heisman, AP Player of the Year, the Maxwell Award, the Walter Camp Award, the AP Player of the Year, and the SEC Offensive Player of the Year. Smith has had one of the best seasons for a player in college football. The Davey O'Brien Award is awarded to the best quarterback in college football, and that was Devontae Smith's teammate, Mack Jones. Jones had a great season. He was third in the Heisman and led the Crimson Tide to another national championship game. Jones' stats for 2020 were 36 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and 4,036 yards. The Fred Biletnikoff Award is given to the best receiver in college football. And once again, Devontae Smith took home the hardware. He continues to have so many awards right now, and he'll likely be the number 2 pick in this year's upcoming 2021 NFL Draft. The Doug Walker Award is given to the best running back in college football, and Najee Harris from Alabama, once again, Devontae Smith's teammate, won the award. He rushed for 1,387 yards on 229 attempts. He also had 24 touchdowns with a net average of 6.1 yards per average. He helped the Crimson Tide to go to another championship game, this time versus Ohio State, that will be played on Monday, January 11th on ESPN. The Home Depot College Football Coach of the Year was won by Jamie Chadwell of Coastal Carolina. Chadwell led the Chanticleers to an undefeated record and a share of the Sun Belt Conference Championship. The Chanticleers were not able to play in the Sun Belt Championship game because of some COVID concerns. It was the first time in school history that the Chanticleers were ranked at one time in a season. They were ranked as high as 12th. The John Mackey Award is given to the best tight end in college football, and that was awarded to Florida's tight end Kyle Pitts. Pitts is likely going to be a top 10 pick in this year's upcoming draft. His stats were 770 yards receiving and 12 TDs. The Outland Trophy is given to the best best football interior lineman, and Alex Leatherwood of Alabama won the award. The 22-year-old is likely going to be a first-round pick in the upcoming NFL draft and is preparing for the national championship game versus Ohio State. The Johnny Unitas Gold Arm Award. The Johnny Unitas Golden Arm Award is awarded to the best senior quarterback. Mack Jones won it. He's had a tremendous season, finishing third in the Heisman voting, winning the Davey O'Brien Award, and now helping lead Alabama to another championship game. The Lou Groza Award is awarded to the best kicker in college football. Jose Borregales, the senior from Miami, won the award. Borregales is from Venezuela. He will have his brother take over for him in Miami in 2021 as he graduates and prepares for the NFL Draft. He is the first kicker from Miami to win this prestigious award. The Ray Guy Award is awarded to the best punter in college football. Georgia Tech's Presley Harvin III won the prestigious Ray Guy Award. Harvin was an All-American this season along with his first team All-ACC. He is also the second punter in Georgia Tech history to win the Ray Guy Award. The Paul Hornung Award. Devontae Smith wins the Paul Hornung Award. The Paul Hornung Award is an award to the most versatile player in college football, and Devontae Smith was certainly that and more, as he was a kick, punt returner, and a wide receiver. He racked up many awards over the last weeks and hopes to win another championship for Alabama on Monday night when they take on Clemson. And last but not least, the Broyles Award is awarded to the best assistant coach in college football, and the winner was Alabama's offensive coordinator Steve Sarkisian. Steve Sarkisian will call his last game as Alabama's offensive coordinator, as he was hired by the University of Texas to be their head coach, replacing the fired Tom Herman. Thanks for listening to the Sports Town Podcast, or the STP Pod for short. You can find us on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and much more. We release new episodes every Wednesday and Friday. Also, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Sports Town Podcast. If you want to check out more videos of the Sports Town Podcast, click on the left. If you want to subscribe to the channel, click on the right.